I want to quickly talk to you about check systems removal, and I want to explain to you everything you need to know about the process, how to remove your name from the check systems database, how to avoid being put back in there, and so I'll explain everything for you from A to Z. And how, as a matter of fact, the good thing is that there is a full illustration, a full example that I will share with you later on in the video. So you want to watch from A to Z. I'll explain to you. I'll show you the steps you need to really follow. So here is an overview I want you to really pay attention to. When you think about check systems, I want you to think about the fact that you want to really, first of all, you never want to go into that database, but if you are, there are steps you need to take, and they have a method. If you don't go through that method, you're not going to get off check systems, okay? If you ever had a checking or a savings account, you probably have a check system file. That's for sure. Everybody has a check system file. You have one, I have one. The only difference is that mine is doesn't have like a derogatory item next to it. Maybe yours also doesn't have it, or yours does have it. So when you think about Check Systems is actually a national consumer reporting agency that compiles and maintains files on problems that consumers like you and me may have had with checking and savings account. So I'm talking about, let's say, account misuses, fraudulent activity, and also unpaid negative balances. So when I speak about financial institutions, I'm talking about traditional banks, savings and loans, credit unions, okay, online banks. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think that online banks don't use check systems. Now, some online banks don't use check systems, but a lot of them do use check system. So one thing I want to say here is that if you have negative account balances or owed money to a bank or credit union, that information may have been reported to your check systems. So based on the info in your check systems file, a bank could actually refuse to let you open a new account. Okay, so this is something to really think about. And so now, when you think about check system, think about a consumer reporting agency, kind of similar to Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax. Okay, now there are important check systems information data to actually know. You have the check systems consumer score, check systems consumer disclosure, and the check system, let's say, trains, your check system file trains. So the disclosure just means that you are putting a little bit of context to why you are there in the first place. Okay, so at least before a bank refuses you to open an account, they have read your part of the story. So that's really important to think about. So now that I explained to you a little bit of context about check systems, it's important to understand that check systems actually has a method. I think I've said this before, but I want you to say it again. How do you get removed from check systems? First of all, you want to start with requesting your report. Remember, the law allows you to request your report, kind of similar to your credit score. You are able to request your check systems file. So there is a law that's called the FCRA, so the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So under that law, you are entitled to a free copy of your consumer disclosure report upon your request, at a minimum once every 12 months and more frequently under certain conditions. So this is kind of similar to what you have with a credit score. Okay. So the cool thing is that you can request a report to learn what information, if any, is actually listed in your consumer file at Check Systems. So the thing is that you first want to make sure that you want to see what's in there in the first place. And even before you apply for a checking account or a savings account, just out of a FYI, just request the whole thing so you have a clear idea what's in there. I mean, or what's not in there in the first place. So if you have been, let's say, denied an account and Check Systems was used in the decision process, this information will help you understand what actually may have contributed to that decision. So once you request your report, you have the ability to dispute errors. So you have the right to dispute any information contained in your consumer file at Check Systems. Again, the law allows you to really go through that process. You can also pay off debts. So after you have paid off any debts that are causing a negative report, you can request that the credit union, bank, or collection agency remove the record from your check system report. You can also ask creditors to update information. So most people want to know how to get out of check systems. If you owe money to a financial institution, you want to know how to clear your check system report. So the easiest way, and this is way better, way faster, is just pay off the debt. Pay off the $20, the $100, the $500, or whatever. Pay off the debt and ask the creditor to report that you have paid the debt. When check systems receive an account status update from the source of the info, the report will be updated, but the record will remain on file. Okay, and you have to wait 5 years. I mean, check systems retains records of reported information for a period of 5 years from the report date, unless the source of the info requests its removal, or check system becomes obligated to remove it under applicable law or policy. So let me talk to you about how to dispute check systems errors. I mean, if you want to really remove check systems file data entry, I mean, maybe the whole thing was that was in there in the first place because you had an error. So you have the right. I've said this before, but I want to really insist on that. You have the right to seek a check systems dispute. So according to check systems, you can order a report to learn what information, if any, is listed in your consumer file at check system. And so what happens here is that if you have been denied an account and check systems was used in the decision process, that information will help you understand what may have contributed to that decision. Let me explain. The thing is, when you actually get denied a checking account or a savings account, the bank or a credit union has to tell you that they used the check system entry to sort of contextualize their decision. And if they did, then you have a right to actually contact check systems and say, listen, I think there was a problem here, or I think that this is an error. Okay. So you want to review your check systems report for errors. There are mainly three types of errors that can cause a report to be inaccurate: fraud, identity theft, or bank mistake. So fraud, this can occur if your debit card or a checkbook is lost or stolen, and someone makes unauthorized purchases or withdraws money from your account. This happens all the time in this country, unfortunately. You also have identity theft. So if you are a victim of debit card fraud, or your debit card or checkbook is lost or stolen, someone could actually open an account in your name and use your info in other criminal ways. Unfortunately, again, it's one of those things where, those things happen. There are a lot of bad actors out there, and you just have to learn how to deal with it. And the third error category is a bank mistake. So an error in your bank's reporting of your account activity could result in a check systems error. So disputes may be made by phone, email, or mail, by the way. If you choose to mail your dispute, follow these steps. So make error in your check systems report. Make a copy of the report you received and circle or highlight the errors. You want to write a request for a validation letter. This is the first letter to send. In it, you will request proof of the info from a credit union or bank that shows the transaction or incident that's actually reported. And you have to mail your documents, so include all relevant documents, including an explanation of the error in question and why you believe the info should be removed. And you have to mail this to ChexSystems. I'm going to put this on the screen. ChexSystems, Inc., Attention Consumer Relations, P.O. Box 583399, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, and 55458. So again, I'm putting this on the screen so you have a clear idea. And you want to wait for a response, and then you have to send a demand for removal letter, and then you have to send a procedural request letter. Actually, in the end, the thing is that if your dispute is unsuccessful, you have the opportunity to file a complaint with the CFPB. I mean, this is actually your first step. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is going to help you understand actually the whole process. So you want to file a complaint with that bureau. By the way, this is a federal agency, so this is actually it has the power of actually asking the financial institution to actually to correct the error. Okay, and you can also file a lawsuit under, let's say, under the law against the check system, the credit union, or the bank. Okay, this is actually a little too far, but hey, listen, if they don't really respond to your letters and to your correspondence, you want to really take things a little more forcefully, and you also want to submit a statement related to any item of information contained in your consumer file. Okay, now one thing for sure. First, a consumer statement form must be completed and submitted. So you want to request and submit the form to check system, the same information that the same PO box that I gave you a little earlier. Okay, and so if you would like assistance in writing a clear summary of your of your dispute statement, you want to contact check system at 1-800. The number again, I'm going to put this on the screen: 1-800-513-7125. So it's one of those things where you want them to explain to you what happened. Now, what to do if you are denied a bank account? Basically, do not actually give up. You have something called second chance bank account. So many credit unions, banks, and online banks offer a second chance account to people with bad credit or other blemishes on their accounts. You also have a prepaid debit cards. This is an opportunity for you to actually still be bankable, quote unquote bankable, without having a bank. Okay, so a prepaid debit card contains only the amount of money you paid for it, less any fees, and cannot be used at an ATM, but still, okay. Prepaid cards are reloadable and can be used at the register and online to pay bills and make purchases, and they're available from a MasterCard, Visa, and other credit card providers. You can also submit an opt-out. I mean, this is actually a pretty successful procedure also that you might want to consider this year. So the thing is that you can opt out of pre-approved offers of credit or insurance. So pre-approved offers of credit or insurance are prohibited to consumers under 21 years of age unless written consent has been provided to opt in for inclusion of pre-screen offers. So if you are under the age of 21 and wish to opt in, you want to submit your request by mail. Now, for consumers, if you are someone who is 21 years of age or older, you by submitting an opt-out request, you are requesting that ChexSystems exclude your name from pre-screen lists used to set a solicitation of credit or insurance for a period of 5 years. So it's 5 years, okay? It's not 10 years, it's 5 years. So if you want to have your info excluded permanently, you may print, complete, sign, and return a ChexSystem permanent opt-out election form. Now, please complete the entire form, and failure to provide complete and accurate information may actually prevent the processing of your request because they listen. ChexSystems make money by selling your data. So if you want them to really stop doing it, you better really be sure that you have all the info in there. So once they receive the completed and signed form, they will update your request to a permanent status, okay? And ChexSystems may access, store, and use your identified info to the extent permitted by law. Again, it's one of those things where they are able to actually use your data to make money. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Now, to submit a request on behalf of someone else, you actually might need a notarized power of attorney or a notarized copy of specific written instructions signed by the consumer, and correspondence must actually include the consumer's full name, current address, date of birth, and social security number. So you really got to have that. And now there are some important instructions to consider. You must be 18 years of age or older to communicate with ChexSystems. Correspondence must always include your full name, your current address, your date of birth, and your social. Once your request has been received, ChexSystems will mail a response to you, and you agree to provide accurate identified information. And so that's really important, especially for ChexSystems to process your transaction. let me give you a few extras here. So when you think about check systems removal, it's important to understand that check systems actually going to retain your data for 5 years, right? I think I've said this before, but I want to reiterate it. It's 5 years. Check systems retains a record of reported information for a period of 5 years from the report date, unless the source of the info request its removal, or check systems becomes obligated to remove it under applicable law or policy. That's important. Now, some credit unions, banks, and online banks provide second chance accounts, so you might want to explore that options also. So if you happen to have let's say a blemished credit history or have you want to really think about a second chance bank account, and you are able to get a free copy of your check systems report. Don't let anybody tell you have to pay for it. You do not have to actually pay for anything, okay? The only way to know what's happening in your check system file is to request a report to learn what info, if any, is being held with your name. Just remember that you got to be 18 years of age or older to communicate with check systems. So it's one of those things where you have to really understand that there are actually some instances where check systems may actually initiate reinvestigations. Okay. Now, reinvestigations are usually completed within 30 to 35 days. Okay. And although not required, supporting documentation must be included with your dispute to assist with the reinvestigation. And documentation may include, but not limited to, identity theft, let's say identity theft statement, police report, account statements, paid or settled in full letters. I mean, this could happen. I mean, if you have a certain situation that you like to really correct real fast, okay, and also a death certificate. So if you provide additional information or documentation relevant to the dispute while the reinvestigation is pending, the time frame may be extended by up to 15 days to give the source sufficient time to review. And once it's actually completed, check systems will notify you of the results. That's really important to think about it. So now let me give you a full illustration here. So that's what I promised you. I'm going to show you the steps that you need to really take if you want to remove your data from check systems real fast this year, especially when it comes to getting things done in a certain manner, like really fast. Okay. So first of all, here is the link. I'm putting a link on the screen here. Here's the link that you have to go to. You go to www.chexsystems.com dispute. Here is the first page that comes. So they will ask you, have you received your consumer disclosure report? Yes. If no, then you have to go back and at least get your consumer disclosure report, okay? Because to submit a dispute, you got to have in your hand, you got to have access to your consumer disclosure report, because it tells you everything that's actually accessible in check systems about your name, about your profile. So then you put your personal details. You put your first name, last name. That's the first screenshot. The second screenshot here. So again, this is a continuation of the earlier screenshot. So you put your first name, last name, your middle name, if any, and your date of birth. Okay. Make sure that your date of birth and like everything actually ties with your official info. Then you put your social security number, and you want to put your socials twice so that you have a clear idea that you're inputting the right info. Then you put your driver's license, the state or military ID number, and the state of issuance. Okay, you gotta really put the state of issuance. The next screenshot, you have to put your current address. So current address, street name, city, state, and zip. And so this is important. Now, the next screenshot, that's when things become very interesting. You need to detail out your dispute. You need to tell check systems why exactly you are disputing their info. And this has to be as granular as possible. Okay, let me explain here. As you can see in the drop-down menu on the screen here, you have all kinds of information. You need to identify the type of info you are disputing. So you can see that you have a lot of choices, right? Personal info, reported info, inquiries viewed by others, check cashing inquiries, inquiries viewed only by you, retail information, history of checks ordered, social security number validation, and unknown. So you want to tell ChexSystems why you're disputing the whole thing in the first place. Next, you want to really detail out your dispute in terms of identifying the source of the disputed information, the bank. You need to really name the company, the bank, the credit union, the company that really provided the info about you. And you need to put the date listed on the disputed information so that, see, the thing is you're trying to contextualize the info for ChexSystems. Next, you want to really describe the nature of your dispute. Here, for sake of time, I just put one sentence or two sentences, but you want to be as detailed as possible. You want to be as specific as possible. If you want your case to actually be resolved real fast, you want to provide as much details as possible. Okay, so that's important. Next, you upload any documents. That you want to really, like, if you have any supporting paperwork to really help ChexSystems do their work, you want to upload it. Here, I didn't upload anything. Okay, and then finally, you have the terms and conditions. You just check I agree to the above terms and conditions and submit. Once you submit, they will just go through the normal procedure, and ChexSystem will study your info and get back to you. So, in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about ChexSystems removal. I gave you the overview, the top hacks, the extras, and finally the illustration. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.